Friends and learners, welcome back to another video lecture on the topic concept of OER, Open Educational Resource. In this video, we are going to talk about open educational resources. We will see what the open educational resources are. Then we will see the different types of open educational resources. So this is going to be in nutshell, what we are going to cover in this video tutorial. To start with, we will see what a reusable learning object is, because it started with reusable learning objects. When we talk about the teaching learning processes, in many of the videos I have pointed out that lecture method is one of the most popular used teaching methods, wherein which the teacher will be sharing the information, passing the information, subject information. While the teacher share or pass the information, that will be mostly of verbal speech. So along with the verbal speech, the teachers can also make use of some teaching learning aids or audiovisual aids. So then teachers also started using audiovisual aids like models, charts. There are many such audiovisual aids. So the importance of audiovisual aids also gained much emphasis in the teaching learning processes. Now think of a situation where if I am a teacher and I have developed some teaching learning aid or audiovisual aid, and suppose one of my friends who is again a teacher or any teacher who wants to use my audiovisual aid, then this may be possible maybe within that educational institution or maybe in that college or university or school. But any teachers who is far from my place, if they want to use such learning aids, audiovisual aids, sometimes this may not be possible. This is one thing. Second, with the emergence of technologies, many audiovisual aids or teaching learning aids were started preparing in the technology mold. We call it as e-content or ICT resources or digital teaching learning resources. So if I am preparing a digital teaching learning resource, digital learning resource or ICT resource, this can be easily uploaded on the internet. Then this will be available to any teachers. So any teaching learning resource which are digital in nature, if any other teacher wants to use this resource, then this is possible in the technology era. So that way, when a teacher uses others' learning objects, teaching learning resources, then the concept of reusable learning object, we can call that this is nothing but they are reusable learning objects. So that way, it started with reusable learning objects, and if we see the definition of reusable learning object, we can say they are nothing but they are reusable education resources. This is the simplest basic definition which we can give for reusable learning object. Let me give you a very simple example. As a teacher, I am preparing a PowerPoint presentation. This can be shared in the internet, and this can be used by any teacher if it suits their purpose. So when they use, this is reused, the material, the resource which I have prepared, they are reusing. So such resources we call it as reusable learning objects. But one question is there, we cannot use the materials which are available in the internet. We have to take the permission from the creator of that object or learning resource. So friends, in the internet we may see different and variety of many learning resources, digital resources. It can be a audio program, video program, any text material, any presentations, animations, simulations. It can be any digital resource. So if I want to use any such resources, I have to take the permission from the creator. So this is one question which is related to reusable learning object. So there are many resources in the internet, but if you want to use, you have to take the permission from the creator. But of course, they are considered to be reusable learning objects. This is one idea. Now coming to OER. So it started with reusable learning objects, which are nothing but they are digital teaching learning resources which are available on the internet. Now if I want to use any such resource without taking any permission, then you can see the concept of openness is coming into the teaching learning process. So there are many resources which are digital in nature. They are available on the internet, which we can use as a teacher for our teaching learning process without taking the permission. So if I say a simplest definition for open education resources, we can say they are nothing but they are the educational resources which are available on the internet, which we can use in our teaching learning process without taking the permission of the creator. But there is a question, even though I am saying it is, you can use it without taking the permission, but there are some open education resources which of course we need to take the permission. So this is the simplest definition. Now let us see some standard definitions, like one quoted by UNESCO in 2012, which says they are teaching, learning and research materials in any medium, digital or otherwise, that reside in the public domain or have been released under an open license that permits no cost access, use, adaptation and redistribution by others with or no limited restriction. So it can be digital or non-digital. Say for example, I am preparing a model, maybe the model of our heart. If I prepare it in a physical form, this can also be considered open education resource. But mostly open education resources, by open education resources or OER, we mean the resources which are digital in nature. So this will be available on the public domain. By that I mean it will be available on the internet or World Wide Web. And one feature which clearly distinguishes this OER from other teaching learning resources are that OERs will have always an license attached to it. So say for example, if I have prepared a PowerPoint presentation, I will attach one open license. So this open license decides how this open education resource or PowerPoint can be used by any other teacher. So this is one of the important features which distinguishes OER from other teaching learning resources. So friends, any resources which are digital or non-digital with having an open license attached to it, which can be used, adapted, redistributed without any restriction. So this is one of the definitions of UNESCO. Now let us again see another definition given by Commonwealth of Learning, which says there are any education resources including curriculum maps, course materials, textbook, streaming videos, multimedia applications, podcasts and any other materials that have been designed for the use in teaching and learning, that are openly available for use by educators and students without accompanying need to pay royalties or license fee. So again, somewhat similar to what UNESCO was pointing out. Their educational resources, it can be of any form, like it can be a curriculum map, course material, textbook, any streaming video, it can be anything, multimedia and all. And this will be openly available in the internet, which can be used by any audience like teachers, students, researchers, there is no restrictions to that. And we don't have to pay any royalty or license fee for that. So if it is available and if it is an OER, anyone can use such resources in the teaching learning process. Since we are talking about technology integration in teaching learning, I am relating to the concept of OER to teaching. By that I mean any resources which are available in the internet, the teachers can use without paying any fees, without taking the permission, and can be used in your teaching learning processes. So this is the second definition. Now let us see. So in brief, we can say OER are any form of teaching learning materials with an open license and are available in the public domain. Very important. They will have an open license with every open education resource. I will show you how this will be. What will be the open license? They refers to online materials that can be adapted, reused, shared, and even used for commercial purposes. See, this can be even used for commercial purposes. What are the other uses? It can be adapted. Take the material which is created by somebody else, then use it in your teaching learning process. You adapt it for your teaching learning purposes. Reuse it. It can be shared with some other audience and even used for commercial purposes. Even you can sell that and earn profit. But we have to see what kind of an open license which allows to do that. So all those are possible with OER. Otherwise, if you are making any profit out of the digital teaching learning resources, then this is a crime that way, because we are not taking any permission. But in OER, this is also possible. Now let us see again education resources that are available in the public domain and can be reused. We don't need to take permission, but there are some restrictions with regard to the permission. So friends, I would just sum up the idea of open education resources. They are teaching learning resources mostly in digital form with having an open license with it. So then we can say that the open education resources are attached with a legal copyright label or open license that gives information on the rights to reuse. So we were saying about reusable learning objects, which we have to definitely take the permission, otherwise this will create copyright issues. But OERs, we don't have any copyright issues because they are already having an open license with it, and this will give you the freedom to use depending upon the open license that it carries. So this open license can be attached to any digital teaching learning resources. Say for example, if you are preparing a presentation, PowerPoint presentation, attach the open license. If you are preparing a text material, attach the open license. Or video program, attach it. Or if you are developing a video program and putting it into your YouTube account, attach the open license. Even YouTube have these kind of licenses, open licenses. So friends, this is very important. This is how the reusable learning objects and open education resources are different from one another. With OER, there will be no copyright issues and will have an open license, but with the reusable learning objects, it's not necessary to have these features. Let me again go a little deeper into the concept of OER. Even though I was saying it can be any digital teaching learning resources, let us see what all digital teaching learning resources can be OER. It can be simply an image. See, I am clicking a photograph in my mobile. Without my permission, no one else is allowed to use my image, the photograph which I have clicked. But if I attach an open license with my image, anyone can use that image. See, the photograph that you have clicked, if somebody else use that photograph and if they make some profit out of this photograph, of course you can give a complaint against that individual. So that's why the copyright issues are important in open education resources or any digital teaching learning resources. So images, it can be images. OER can be an image, it can be a graphic, it can be a picture, it can be a photograph, it can be a audio material, video material, and nowadays e-text, electronic texts are very common. We were having the hard copy, still it is there, but many of the hard copy text are having the electronic version also. So that can also be made OER. E-book, an entire book can be made as an electronic book. Then presentation, PowerPoint presentation. So all these are like we can make all these digital resources an OER. Again, let us see. It again includes, it can be an animation, simulation, virtual reality, AR content, augmented reality content, curriculum apps which we have seen in the UNESCO definition, course material, textbook, streaming videos, multimedia applications, podcast, vodcast, etc. all can be made an OER. Only thing is that we have to attach an open license to that material that we have prepared. Say for example, I am developing a simulation. Once it is done, I will attach the open license. Then this will be an OER. So friends, absolutely the list is so big, which includes almost all kinds of digital teaching learning resources, and by attaching open license to such digital teaching learning resources, we can make it an OER. I hope you have understood the concept that I am discussing. Now friends, let us talk about the OER legal permission. I was saying they are digital teaching learning resources and it can be of any format, any digital teaching learning resources. Now as a teacher, see, I have developed a PowerPoint presentation again. Now this is an OER, I made it an OER, and one of my colleague or somebody else wants to use that PowerPoint. Then what all things he can do with my PowerPoint presentation? Because my PowerPoint presentation may be having some 10 to 15 slides. Now how this 10 to 15 slides the other individual will be using? What all legal permissions or what all permissions are allowed to that individual to use my PowerPoint presentation? Let us see that. The first one is retail, which says right to make, own and control copies of the content. Only he can use my PowerPoint as it is. He has to retain that. Or else reuse, the second permission, right to use the content in a wide variety of ways. Say for example, my PowerPoint presentation may be some 10 to 15 slides. The individual who is using my PowerPoint presentation, he can make it maybe 20 slides, 25 slides, he can bring it down. Some of the slides will be mine, some new slides the other individual will be adding. So this is reusing. Revising, again is connected to reuse. So revise it and reuse it for your teaching learning purpose. Say for example, I might have developed the PowerPoint maybe in Hindi language, but the individual who is using my PowerPoint, he may require it in English. So he can translate my Hindi into English, revise it, mix it. So everything is possible. They are allowed to do that. Remix it. Say I might have developed say for example a PowerPoint. The other individual want to add something to my PowerPoint, say for example a video file, audio file, images, remixing. I hope you are aware about the remixing of songs which are very popular nowadays. Not nowadays. We have seen, once you search the internet, you can see many songs which are remixed, many songs made into a single file. So this is also possible. So if I am using a PowerPoint, e-text, some audio materials, video material, the other individual wants to use all these like my presentation, text, audio, video, he can mix it and make a new digital teaching learning resources. This is remixing, very, very, very beautiful concept that way in the teaching learning processes, we can say. Redistribute, this can be shared with any other individuals or audience. So in general, these are the permissions which are allowed with what we say OER. Let me again give you a small example like the PowerPoint. I am developing a PowerPoint, another individual is using that PowerPoint. So that individual can do all these activities, like he can retain, he can reuse, he can revise my PowerPoint, he can remix my PowerPoint, he can redistribute my PowerPoint. So that is the beauty of open educational resources. Now let us see some of the examples. So friends, I was saying about this will have some open licenses. So the slide or the screen which you are seeing right now, this is an OER definitely, because on the lower part you are seeing something like a rectangle, then 3 circles inside, which is you can read it like CC, then 2 symbols are attached to it. So this is a website. So what does that mean? Since they have this open license attached to this website, whatever material are available in this website, if you are a teacher, you can, if you feel this content is useful for your teaching learning purpose, of course you can use this text as it is. You don't have to take any permission from the website creator or the owner of this website. So once you visit this website, you can see number of teaching learning resources. You can of course use without consulting the owner of this website, since it is having an open license attached to it. So this is one example. So this is a website, entire website, the materials available are, you are free to use. But this is not the case with all the websites. Say for example, the IGNOU website. As a teacher, you are not allowed to take all the materials which are available on the IGNOU website, because it's not all the materials or all the content which are available on the IGNOU website is not free. This is the same with many other websites. So if you want to take any material from IGNOU website or other websites, you have to take permission from IGNOU or the website who owns that website. So this is a website, OER Commons. This is an organization which works extensively on open educational resources, creating open educational resources, storing open educational resources, and there are many such activities which this organization is into. This is another example, OER Commons, which you are seeing on the slide. This is an organization which works extensively on producing, storing and sharing educational resources, especially open educational resources. So once you visit this website, you can see a lot of open educational resources. You can see on the lower side, ICT essentials for teachers, ICT and physical environment. This is a teaching learning resources or digital resource. And below to that image, you can see again a license like CC BY SA. This is the open license. So since it is having an open license, of course, whatever materials are available on that, you can, as a teacher, you can use that resource. So this is another example where I am showing a website and a digital teaching learning resource which can be, when you click on ICT essentials for teachers, ICT and physical environment, the title that you are seeing on the slide, you will get many resources. It can be a text material, it can be a audio, video material, it can be anything. So all those are what we say are open educational resources. Another website, this is a course, ICT Essentials. So the material available in this course, this is run through the Moodle platform. So on the left side of the screen, you are seeing welcome, introduction, pros and cons of ICT in a laboratory. So when you click on that, the resources which are related to that topic will be coming out. It can be again any, what we say, text material, it can be a video material, audio material, it can be anything, but the materials are open educational resources because they have again an license. You are seeing the license CC by SA in black and white color. So this is the open license which I was referring to. We'll also talk about this license a little later and again in detail in the coming videos. Then this is a text material of Commonwealth of Learning and the title is Understanding Open Educational Resources. This text is purely on giving an understanding about what open educational resources are. So this is a e-text, electronic text we can say, and this material on the lower side you can see the experts who have prepared this. Then below to that again you are seeing that rectangular box, and inside that few circles you are seeing CC by SA. So this is also an OER because this e-text is having an open license attached to it. So this is how it will look like when you have an OER with you, when an OER is with you. So friends, it's not only limited to what we say the website, any courses, any text material. It can be, the open licenses can be there with audio materials, video materials, any animations, simulations, images, graphics, as I was pointing out in the beginning. So we can attach, when we develop any teaching learning resource, we can always attach this open license, and this will help us to make it an OER which can be reused by any other individual. And now I would like to give a brief idea about the licenses, the open licenses. From the beginning onwards I was saying about the open licenses. So friends, as a teacher we will be developing some digital resources. Then to make it an OER we have to attach an open license to that particular digital resources. So what open license we will attach? There are a couple of open licenses, but the most popular open licenses are given by the organization which I was pointing out, the Creative Commons. They have given this 6 Creative Commons licenses. So these are Creative Commons licenses which we consider it as open licenses. And this is how it will look like. The first one that you are seeing is CC BY. This is one open licenses. So if you see any material, say for example any electronic text having this license CC BY attached to it, then it means that you can consider it as an OER. You don't have to take a permission from the creator. You can use that material. You can use that OER in your teaching learning process. But you have to give credit to the author who has created this. You have to definitely acknowledge the creator. So giving credit or acknowledgement is very much important in the OER resources. Of course, you don't have to take permission, but you have to give credit and you have to acknowledge the creator. So CC BY is one such license. Then you are seeing CC BY share alike. SA is for share alike. The next is CC BY node derivatives. This is another. ND means node derivative. Next is CC BY non-commercial. NC means non-commercial. Then CC BY NCSA, CC BY NCND. So these are the 6 major open licenses. So if you see any digital teaching learning resources with this license attached, of course you can take it and reuse it in your teaching learning processes. We will see in detail what this BY, NC, NDA all represents. In detail we will see in the coming videos. So with this I am winding up today's session. In today's session we have talked about the concept of OER, which is nothing but they are digital teaching learning resources which are available on the public domain having an open license attached to it, which the individuals can use without taking permissions, but definitely giving the credit and acknowledgement to the creator. And the most popular licenses or open licenses attached to the open educational resources are given by the Creative Commons, and they are known like Creative Commons licenses. So any material having this OER, any material having this license attached to it can be considered as an OER, and that can be used by any individual for their teaching learning purposes. So as a teacher, you are free to use any OER available on the internet, or as a teacher, you can also develop teaching learning resources, and by attaching open license to it, you can make it an OER. I hope you have understood the concept that we have covered today, discussed today. Thank you. Thank you for watching this video tutorial.